It looks like he's back. Oh, great. Alright, Doc, what happened while I was offline? If you're asking about the android, he merely left after you disconnected. That's it? After what he and Kiel were doing, I was... Wait, android? Yes, it would seem so. I've analyzed him for biosigns, only to find he was nothing more than a machine. So then, how does that explain the static? Well, while observing him, I noticed that the amount of static interference caused by him is due to the overall makeup of his being. It's almost as if the game was trying to keep itself from crashing because of how he's programmed. It's even possible that he could be some form of virus. A virus? In World of Warcraft? Well, I'm not sure what to make of it otherwise. His existence is enough to cause players to crash. And it's at its worst whenever he absorbs energy from those dark portals that are everywhere. It's like he's trying to gather energy for something, but I'm not sure. So what about Kiel? What did it want with him? Do you really think I have every answer for you? Well, you are the doctor. I don't know. I don't know what this thing wants. I don't know what it has to do with that warlock or anything for that matter. All I know is that it's a danger to you and everyone else who plays this game. I need to report this. We're going to find out exactly what is going on. You just take it easy and let us handle things from now on. If you say so. I don't know. I know I'm powerless so long as the static affects me, but even then, to beat Kiel? I want to think of it as a good thing, but something tells me otherwise. What I always do. Make videos until something happens that I can resolve. Speaking of, I got something really important to do.
Job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the away. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you. When the rain starts to fall, I'll be there for you. Like I've been there before, I'll be there for you. 'Cause you're there for me too.
Well, it's finally time at last. We've hit a major milestone today, as this is my official 50th episode of the Media Hunter Show. Specials don't count, Loki. Anyway, since we're almost done with the season, I thought I'd do a top list for once, since it's been 2 years and I've yet to do one. So we're going to count down my favorite animal characters. I mean, what else would you expect this list to be? Besides that. But really, in any form of media, animals have existed as characters much like any human, elf, alien, whatever. And even when they have appearances that may be questionable, we still can't help but treat them like any other character. This list is meant to address the ones that I especially enjoyed over the recent years, and I'd like to share them with you. So here's 7 of my favorite animal characters. Don't ask why, you're already watching the video anyway. On with the list.
Well, that's Bungle in the jungle. Well, that's alright by me. Yes, I'm a tiger when I want love. I'm a snake if we did.
Number 7. Happy from Fairy Tail. You got some exposure to him during my Daedalus arc review, but back then I didn't really tell you a whole lot about him, or anyone else for that matter, most of which you saw already, but Happy is essentially like the most adorable prankster who often says things that are funny and does things that usually result in him getting hit. This of course can be funny, but at the same time have the side effect of being well, unfunny. Of course, while there are misses to his humor, there are plenty of situations where they are done right. On top of being a funny character, he is still pretty loyal to his guildmates and friends, and would even get into fights if needed. Daedalus was one thing, but one of his more notable fights was when he helped Natsu fight Cobra during the Arashian Caesar. Even though the guy was a poison dragon slayer, Happy clung onto Natsu the whole time, helping him fly around in order to fight this guy in the air, even taking a few hits. If anything, he's a trooper. Despite being so small and weak, he has so much courage and loyalty as everyone else. Well, I don't want to say when the plot demands it, but either way, for all these reasons, I just find him to be a fun character who would make my list any day.
I'm a tiger when I want love. I'm a snake if we did.
Number 6. King Louie from The Jungle Book. Admittingly, it's been forever since I've seen The Jungle Book, and only recently I've rediscovered the awesomeness of this character through a certain YouTube poop.
So you're the crazy man. Have a banana. Now don't try to fuck me, man cub. I made a deal with you.
But looking back for reals, he's a pretty fun character. Voiced by the late Louis Prima, he was a king who wanted to become a man. But to do that, he needed Mowgli to teach him how to wield fire in exchange for letting him stay in the jungle. On the surface, it seems like this is an ape of high power who wants to go beyond that and become something else, much like someone else we know. But really, he just comes off as a rather innocent being who doesn't know better. In the animal kingdom, he's just a laid-back orangutan who has no idea what fire is like, and while he's very charismatic, he might not know what it means to burn things. Even then, I always enjoyed his contribution to the film, as he's got a really memorable voice, as well as one of the best Disney songs ever.
Ooby-doo, I wanna be like you. I wanna walk like you, talk like you.
You see it's true, someone like me can learn to be like someone like me. Take me home, Daddy.
Even though he's only for a short part of the film, I always loved watching him do his thing. Definitely one of my favorite characters of the movie, and definitely deserving to be on this list. Number 5. Eugene Gallardo from Tales of Rebirth. It's not often do we get animal characters in the Tales franchise, at least in the Mothership series. I mean, the only other character in that regard is Rapide. Eugene, though, comes off as rather unique for the franchise he's in. Essentially, he's an ex-commander of the Karigia army who, alongside Mao, who is kind of a lolly despite being a boy,
謎めく過去に包まれて孤独に荒野を旅する男渋い独身かっこいい
travel together to help find a way to figure out the problems with the magic source of this game, Force. Meeting Vague, the lead main character of the story, and meeting other Force users to figure out what's going on. Now in combat, Eugene is like a tank, taking hits and even able to dish out just as much. His weapons even able to pierce through multiple enemies, so he's definitely great for boss fights. As a character, he's like the experienced adult who knows a lot and yet is also hiding a lot. Major spoilers to be expected, of course, but essentially, he holds responsibility for the death of the father of Annie, another main character whose reason of hating Eugene and his kind started from him. Throughout the game, he has to cope with this guilt and even bear with having the one person who wants him dead travel with him. But that's just the beginning of his problems. During the second half of the game, he starts to suffer the effects of the negative emotions going on in everyone. Being a Gajuma, he often feels hate toward the Huma, which is conflicting given his friends are Huma. And one half, but really now. It even puts a slight dent in his relationship with Mao since he looks up to him as a fatherly figure. For reasons I can't exactly say here, as I'd be going on forever. Pretty much, he's a man with a lot of conflict, and it's interesting seeing how he goes through everything and overcoming them. Outside that, he can be pretty funny at times. And outside of the game, well, I guess he's a personal favorite of Tier. Either way, given my experience with him during my time playing the game, he deserves some more recognition.
よかったね
I'm a tiger when I want love. I'm a snake if we did.
Number 4. Applejack from My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. Hey, don't go anywhere! I know what you're thinking, but I'm not like that. Do you really think I'd be one of the bad bronies who obsess about this show?
Jerry, that's me. Jerry was having a wonderful time in Ponyville.
You know, like him? Really now. I enjoy the show, but I only watch it whenever I'm not busy. I don't devote myself to it, but I do like what they do and the characters that are presented. And with Applejack, well, she's a good example of a strong, hardworking female lead who we don't see a lot these days. Now, whether you think it's because she's a cowgirl and that only they can have this trait, well, maybe. But either way, the things she does and how she acts around others just comes off as awesome. Like,
Come on, little doggies. Arr! Winona, put 'em up. Ha-ha! Gotcha. Atta girl.
of course, she's not perfect. She can be pretty stubborn at times, to the point where she would end up holding back the truth for something, despite her element of harmony being honesty. But in any case, I just find her to be the one pony who can pull off so many things despite not having any magic or wings, showing you don't need to have those necessities to show your stuff. Overall, she's just an enjoyable character who kicks all kinds of ass.
Friendship